All right, guys. We've got MAXPAX on the top left side of the map playing the weekly finals here. The Wardi Mondays, week 28 against CLEM in the bottom right side of the map. Paused for a second there as I was like, wait, which tournament is this? Which week is this? Oh, we've got so many different weekly tournaments going, but this is the one that's been running under the same name without changing for pretty much the longest out of the weekly cups. It does, of course, replace the Korean one. And to see these two playing in the finals there, not too unfamiliar, because even though it's played on the kind of Korean-friendly time zone, it is, of course, the modern age where it's not server-locked or anything like that. There's no server preference. If you've got Korean versus American, they will play on the NA server. So no surprise to see the Dane and the Frenchman facing off. Now, what's interesting is recently MAXPAX has been struggling in this matchup, I would say. Hero has been dominating this matchup pretty hard in general against most opponents, right? And I really think part of that is Hero will open Storm Drop a lot, Hero will open Sentry sometimes, he'll open Oracle, all the different things that utilize this energy recharge ability. But much like my complaints on day one of this patch coming out, in that MAXPAX had clearly not practiced this patch at all, whereas Clem had played about 50,000 games, as he struggles to get his SCV to go to the inside of the wall and it refuses to do it. Oh, that was funny. He kept hopping it on and off, and every time it just would go to the same spot, whereas it's meant to take a random position each time, so Clem just kind of got a little unlucky, but he finally goes back to building it. Doesn't really matter too much, just loses a little bit of building time. So anyway, like I said, guys, and it was funny, I saw some people discussing balance in this matchup and how it's a bit Protoss favored because of the information imbalance, and I saw someone on Reddit make a long post about how basically Protoss players are way worse off in this patch because they don't have shield battery overcharge, which is the opposite of what we've seen in all of Heroes game, all of Skillis's games, pretty much every Protoss player that's not MAXPAX. Even MAXPAX has had some periods of success, but it feels like recently it's gone back in Clem's favor a little bit. We'll see if that's the case in this series. But to me, it feels like MAXPAX went to this patch and said, how should I best utilize all of these new tools? I'm just kidding. I don't think he said that at all. He did the exact same thing he's been doing in the previous patch and the patch before that. MAXPAX has, you know, there's a few twists. I exaggerate. I do exaggerate. Don't get me wrong. He does shift his builds around, but he doesn't utilize energy recharge very well. It's from about 6 minutes onwards when he makes a sentry and starts energy recharging it to always have Guardian Shield and to have a few more force fields available. That's the bonus MAXPAX got from this patch. Whereas a lot of other Protoss players have Oracle spamming stasis traps. They have Revelation constantly spamming. They have Sentry hallucinated Phoenixes flying through and seeing every single thing Protoss is doing, or Terran is doing every game. And it's a very different flavor. And you see guys like Zound taking series off Clem. You see a lot of these players like Skillis giving Clem a very close match the other week as well. And it really feels like there's been a shift where Protoss, I don't know if they're overpowered, they definitely feel a lot better than they did in the previous patch. And that's something where MAXPAX kind of feels like he's not in that range. It feels like MAXPAX hasn't really evolved, and we've already noticed this. I've basically told you guys how I've done show matches every time there's a new patch for the last few years, and often the two players are always down to play anything. MAXPAX, Clem, two of the best players. PvT's been a big focus, so I've really just happened to host show matches between them. Every single show match has been Clem winning on day one of the patch without dropping a single map to MAXPAX. MAXPAX has played exactly the same, and Clem has done, you know, a mixture of aggression, but also often changing his builds up a little bit to adapt to that patch. And I think it's just something where MAXPAX is the defensive god. He's the guy who memorizes a build, does it over and over again, and tries to play it perfectly. Unfortunately, this is a tight choke point, guys, and there's no shield battery, and that's an issue because he's about to get hit by that very fast Marine tank push. We'll see if MAXPAX can hold on. Blink still 30 seconds out. He's expecting a drop. He's making a warp prison. That's the last thing that he needs right now. He sees what's happening. But oh my gosh, that pylon. He's going to try and pull probes, but he needs the rest of the stalkers here. He's going to go for it. My god, the choke point! The choke point! The tank is going to shoot those stalkers while the Cyclones and Marines try to deal with the probes. 12 probes have already gone down. My lord, that is immense damage coming in here for MAXPAX. Now, notice how Clem runs forward. A lot of players would run away here. Not Clem, though. He realizes if he turns to run, those stalkers will be on him like white on rice. Stalkers trying to pull back. Marines and Vikings trying to move in right now. Good hot pickups for Clem to get a little bit more damage. Can he get another stalker? Remember, the landed Viking, guys, is basically a marauder who's taken more meth than a German soldier in World War II. And dude, he just killed 3 more stalkers. Wow, 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 wow. Crazy damage, probably game ending. He's still got more tanks, Marines coming. And there's 2 gateways, a robo, 27 workers for MAXPAX, 29 for Clem. And MAXPAX just wasn't ready for it. Clem wipes him out. All right, guys, Clement now in the top right at ley lines. Gets himself a nice, easy map win there. Commits hard to that push. MAXPAX so used to playing against the early Marine drop. It's like, gosh, darn it. Gonna go for that gate scout once again. I do really wonder with MAXPAX. I mean, because he never really goes... Does he skip? He does skip scout sometimes, doesn't he? He doesn't do it much first, Clem. I wouldn't mind him skipping scout a little bit more. I think that's another thing I'd love to see. Is just skipping scout once in a while and going for that gas first opening. Go for the 19 Nexus, 19 core. It's such a good build. But yeah, you know, he likes to keep it similar. He lets Clem be the one who... Clem varies up his openings a lot more than him. And he's like, I'm happy with that. Look at the way Clem's trying to just keep him on the inside of the wall. That micro, man. Kept hopping it off before he crossed the midpoint. Otherwise, he would have hopped out on the outside where the probe could have attacked him. Still could, of course, rotate to this side where the probe can reach him. But looks like he's been pretty lucky with the movements. Factory goes up in the high ground. Already placed to build that nice wall off to protect a siege tank behind it. So if stalkers blink up the ledge, they'll be hitting a siege tank and they can't really get past the wall off to hit that siege tank. Now, definitely, it's a little frustrating for someone who does love players who play the more strategic side to watch MAXPAX because he is going to be focusing on the simplest, smallest, slightest strategy changes, and that's reactive StarCraft in a nutshell. It's not, oh, look, he's going to do this drastically different thing. You really need to understand the tiny nuances of StarCraft to appreciate what MAXPAX is doing. And I'll be the first to admit, I do not understand every tiny nuance of StarCraft, not even close, you know. Oh, wow, gets a probe. That's unfortunate for Max. We'll get a second hit off, I think, but doesn't have another shade ready until now, so the Reaper should be able to get out of there. Second gateway goes down at a nice crisp timing, 243. That's a really quick gateway. Remember, guys, general rule for PvT, always delay your third gateway units. 2 gateway units, second gateway, then you start building that third gateway unit. That's the way to do it. So Adept should be shading backwards for safety. But the Hellion and single Reaper know they can't take it out. It's going to be a 3 Reaper 2 Hellion opening. This opening is incredibly weak to Oracle, but MAXPAX never opens Oracle. If you do this into Hero when he's playing Oracle, he's just going to kill all these units for free, get a massive advantage. But in this case, MAXPAX does add a bit more safety this time with the shield battery. And oh, he knows you're going to not probably have any units out. Going to get rid of the SCV on the command center. Can he stop it building, though? Oh, it's at 69.70. But it doesn't quite finish. Oh, nice timing here for MAXPAX with the Adept. The question is, though, skipping that Adept being at home a good idea. He should have focused the Hellion. Hellion's a bigger threat than the Reaper. Wow, he lets him in. Oh, the grenade perfectly placed there for Clem. Another grenade would be nice to try to zone these boys out. Reaper's going to try and escape while the Hellions know they can't jump up a cliff. So he's just going to dive with those. Good probe attack, but he still loses 8 probes before finally having these units cleaned up. Reaper runs in on the natural, not going to be able to do anything with the shield battery there. Adept is still alive over here. I'd like to get a bit more damage, but the Adept being at home was far more valuable, and Clem has found big damage in this early stage. 4 Stalkers coming forward with Blink. It is a 2-gate Blink here as MAXPAX tries to recover his probes. Main undersaturated. I wouldn't have hated it if he didn't put back on gas. I know that feels weird, but I feel like I would have only put at most 2 on each gas personally, because like I think you need to start a 3rd Nexus right now or you're going to be far behind. Because the Robo is not well timed. Like a Warp Prism is going to be so late. It's way more important to start a 3rd Nexus than it is to start anything else. Wow, he moves out right now and actually gets hit. No bunker. Oh wow, has Clem been too fancy? Clem may have been too fancy. Blink's not quite ready though. Good Cyclone micro to start, but the Stalkers, oh, not quite able to take care of it. And don't ever focus the Cyclone, not with Clem there. You know Clem. He's always got that medevac, the way he micros it on top with the hot pickups, but only losing an Adept, I believe. Yeah, an Adept for 3 SCVs and a lot of mining time is pretty good. Tank is now sieged, though. That's going to give him the defensive anchor that he needs. Comes in, gets himself an SCV, but trades a Stalker for it. Good trade for Clem. Now, this is the 3rd Nexus timing I was talking about, guys. So if he'd stayed off gas a bit longer, he could have had this main mineral line saturated earlier, had the 3rd already almost finished, and then he could have gone into like this 3rd and 4th gas a little bit faster. So I really love when I watch Estrella take damage, because I think he's one of the best at bouncing back from it. He'll really react with his build, and he'll kind of go pull off gas, full minerals for 30, 40 seconds, you know, recharge, make sure I've got 2 mineral lines going, building a third, because I have to open up as much mineral income and keep my mineral income as stable as possible, because that's the limiting factor on making enough units to survive, right? Don't get me wrong, delays on tech can lose you PvT. It's just one of those little things. I would like to see that adjustment for MAXPAX. Then again, great setup for CLEM as he comes in with that Liberator on that left side. Not common to see him go for a Liberator, but gets 2 probes. Nicely done. And he's just going to pull away, even though there's actually nothing there that shoots up. You've got to assume there's Stalkers warping in. Does move 2 Stalkers from the main down to the natural. Forge coming in first, Colossus starting. MAXPAX doing a really good job of recovering from what was a very bad start. He's up 6 workers. No third command center started just yet. And combat shields hasn't gone down either. Now, CLEM actually going Marauder production pretty early. Does scan and takes out the Observer. A lot of players will go Stim, Concussive, pure Marine production, only building Marauders after they queue up both of those upgrades and then start getting Medivacs even before the Marauders. But by going earlier into Marauders, it means you're just more prepared for those early Colossus. Whereas if you're on a very Marine-heavy army, does fine against Zealot Phoenix, does fine against, you know, anything that doesn't involve early Colossus, essentially, the Marines are going to do well versed. But once Colossus is on the field, it eats Marines for breakfast. So I think this is a really good prioritization from CLEM. You can see he's a little broke. He can't quite afford non-stop Marauder production right now. But he will be able to add that in the near future. Still no third command center for him. He's got himself a turret on the natural. And it looks like he's thinking about the third command center going up in the safety. He knows that Zealots or something could come in and deny it. Observer does see the Liberator come in, and those 2 Stalkers will move to respond. Out front the base, looks like the Stalker's trying to slow him down. It's only 4 Stalkers, and it's a big bio ball. Liberator comes in from that side. Yeah, no way to really hit that Liberator without walking into its zone, so you're going to need a few more. CLEM, though, playing it very safe with this. Should see those Stalkers and pull away. Nice reactions. Stalkers for MAXPAX being very cautious. He's got 2 Colossus out. Extended thermal lapse only 20 seconds away. That upgrade is massive. Got to watch out. This is a Marine heavy ball. Tanks do siege up. Colossus only takes out 1 Marine. And look at those tank shots. Nasty tank shots there. Energy recharge gets used on the sentries. Moving up that ramp is a crazy bad move. Unless you realize the Colossus aren't there. But I think CLEM is just so worried about getting jumped on. Gets a tank shot, takes out a Stalker, takes out a Zealot. He's not committing too hard. Notice he's gone back to worker production. He's got a third command center building. He knows MAXPAX's vision is light, so he's waiting for MAXPAX to overextend, going, oh god, where are you coming from? Because MAXPAX can't let him move up the ramp. He can't let him move to the left and siege him. So he has to split his army right now, and that's very awkward. And CLEM's just going to pick up his tanks and leave. Right? You gotta run to the right. He needs to run to the right now. He's gonna get jumped on. He needs to pick up those tanks and boost out of here. But MAXPAX, his army's a little out of position. It seems like CLEM not too worried about this. I mean, he still has the army lead. He did fend off these Zealots in the north. He's got Widow Mines and Bio waiting. If those Zealots run through that, they're going to have a bad time. He knows how MAXPAX plays, so he's kind of like, I'm going to pressure the front, force you to send Zealot counters. I'm going to try and focus on cleaning those up efficiently while denying a 4th. As long as there's no 4th Nexus, he doesn't feel like he needs to commit. But these Zealots slip by. MAXPAX's first big win. I say big win, I mean, it's a couple of SCVs and mining time. Pulling back to the bunker should do A-okay. SCV or Marine Scout goes down on the left. These little Marine spotters have been getting cleaned up. Doom Drop goes towards the main base. So it's a triple medevac drop. It's going to try and get to the main. And you know what? That Observer's not placed correctly, guys. There is a little bit of fog of war down here. So we're going to go to MAXPAX vision. See if he notices this, guys. We're on his camera. That drop is sneaking by the bottom. It does not look like it's appearing on the minimap. Oh, gosh, that Observer being misplaced is so tragic. He's got Zealot counters, he's got his Colossus in the middle, but he's about to get hit by a triple drop in the main, guys, and that is a disaster waiting to happen. CLEM cleans up the Zealots at home. He's thinking about dropping. He scans the north. He's still wondering where is the 4th. He'd like to be hitting the 4th base or defending an attack at the same time as this drop goes in. He doesn't want to send it in on its own. Because if he goes in on its own, he can just snap recall, deal with it, you have to pick up and leave, what do you achieve? But if you force him to recall and dive and kill a 4th or a 3rd with your main army, that's where it's super worth. So he's still got that squad, but he's waiting for the perfect moment. Dark Templar are now coming in. Has CLEM let this game go too long? I would argue, yes, he has. Second eBay and armor, he's just now coming down. Prism going into the main. We've got Dark Templar coming in. It's a bit of a twister, guys. DT in the 3rd, DT in the main at the same time. SCVs are pulled. Turrets start to go down. He doesn't have many scans available, almost none. It looks like none. He's too good. Oh, he's been too good with his mule dropping. Triple drop goes into the main base to counter. That's going to find some damage. But does he have scans? The answer is not really. Siege tank's taking damage. He's trying to creep turrets towards his third and get a turret up in his main at the same time. If the turret goes down in the main, he needs to drop a scan. Dude, how did he have no energy this whole time? He's got to scan. These Dark Templar doing too much damage. It looks like the drops went down, by the way. 2 drops went down. 1 survived. He's getting torn apart by these DTs. 1 DT finally goes down there. He has to double scan the main to clean it up. That Dark Templar is still alive. Hit it with the SCVs. It's like 1 hit from death. Okay, the SCVs do clean up. Zealots on the third as well. CLEM getting wrecked by Dark Templar. His macro was just too good. And that's a bit of a bad series of events for him. Another Dark Templar comes in. The Prism tries to go back in, though there is a Viking on top of it. We'll keep an eye on that in a sec. The Dark Templar doing good damage. Prism should probably try to go to the corner and recall, but with Marines and Vikings on top and the turret, it's going to be going down. 11 SCVs, a turret. Oh my gosh. Wow, feels Dark Templar, man. Feels Dark Templar, man. CLEM just lost the game to DTs. Just late mid-game Dark Templar come in. He just had almost 0 energy across 3 orbitals. And that is one of the rare times you have to shake your head and go, I guess I'm just not very lucky. Like, don't get me wrong. In terms of, yes, he could have saved scans, this or that, sure. But if you're just dropping mules, the chances of you having just dropped mules and having almost 0 energy on all 3 command centers is just so low. And that is why CLEM has got to be shaking his head in disappointment right now, because he's gone from a pretty decent position in this game to now MAXPAX is large and in charge. Zealots are hitting his third base just north of this as well at the same time. CLEM disengages. Zealot Dark Templar already forced those workers out. They do overcommit a little bit. It looks like no detection for that Dark Templar, so he will go down as the Zealot does fall. Sorry, the Dark Templar will escape, I should say, as the Zealot does fall. Can CLEM fight back from here? Well, we know how you come back from here as Terran. Down 25 workers up against a 4 base going on 5 base Protoss. And that is, you defend and you hope the Protoss overcommits to an attack and you get a perfect fight. With 2-2 upgrades on the way, there's a real chance of it. +1 armor does come in, so it's 2-1 upgrades. Protoss ahead, but second forge hasn't quite finished. And oh, he's still poking the front. Bit of a crazy attack there for MAXPAX. Be careful, mate. But oh, I know why. It's because Dark Templar coming in and Zealots. CLEM just too far behind. Wow, we can watch that final sequence again. He just kind of, I was like, what's he doing with his main army? This was purely a, hey, look at me. Hey, buddy, look over here. Hey, buddy, look over here. I'm happy to sacrifice a few Zealots. Look over. Hello, CLEM, look over here. And CLEM's like, oh. He's like, I had a treat for you. And that treat is an invisible man that escaped before. He's going to run in and keep on killing SCV. Zealots in the main. And CLEM's like, okay, no way, Jose. We just took way too much damage. All right, guys, going into game 3 now. CLEM in the bottom left side. Got to be a little frustrated by the Dark Templar. Going on to Persephone, though, which is cool. Persephone, this is a map I don't think I've really seen at all. I'm trying to think about what features. Okay, so we've got like little mineral walls here. Collapsible rock towers that can wall off that ramp, but you can't wall off this one. I think it's naturally going to be expanding to the corners. But who knows? Maybe Protoss. Maybe MAXPAX goes 3rd here, 4th here, and it kind of tries to control the front. Because it's going to be harder for Terran to counterattack around the backside, and that protects your main from Doom drops. Whereas if you go for this more standard 3rd base, it might be a little easier to defend on the ground, but it does mean your main is a bit more wide open. So I know, like, especially in TvT, a lot of players will follow that. Expand in front of your main base to block the enemy drop path. So you can defend the main and the front at the same time. Nexus just started there. Alright, so this is going to be pretty typical for Max. CLEM, pretty typical for him as well. Double gas opening. He's going to go for the Reaper. I don't think we'll see something like 3 Reaper, 2 Alien again. CLEM has been playing quite aggressive. So fascinating, right? Because you kind of almost always know CLEM's going to play double gas as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, the earlier depth pressure is good. So Printf was asking me this. He said, I've been watching Pro play a lot last few weeks. I noticed every Protoss goes core before Nexus, Chronos 2 Adepts across the map. And often they just lose those Adepts without doing any damage and then go on to lose the game. So what? He said, can you enlighten me, Pig? Why are they doing that? And I said, that's a really good question. I talked to CLEM about it, and CLEM, you'll actually see him win the game with those 2 Adepts a fair bit when he's playing. Like, he actually will kill an SCV, kill a Marine, kill a Hellion, and he just snowballs. But there's also a lot of games where like Hero just throws the Adepts away and makes it look really garbage. MAXPAX definitely, I would say somewhere in the middle, in that he's a bit more consistent at just pressuring, forcing a bit of defense. And if you go low ground command center, it can be a little risky against him. But I am of the belief, and I've said this many times, that Protoss players' opening ranges are very weak right now against the way Terran players are playing. If you know a guy is 80% of the time going to go a double gas opening, I think one of the best things you can do is go for that 19 Nexus, 19 core. But here we go. He's going to try and fight on the map as MAXPAX. He gets an Adept for a Reaper. It's better trade for the Terran. Ooh, doesn't want to lose another Reaper though. Reaper does not want to take a hit. It's regenning right now. CLEM's micro is so good. Oh, and he doesn't even lose. He gets 2 Adepts for 1 Reaper. This is exactly the scenario Printf was talking about, where you've just sacrificed a ton of economy to get those early Adepts, and you've basically thrown them into the meat grinder. And that is really bad for Protoss. It's very bad. Now, I don't know if MAXPAX and the guys who do this every game say, well, that's just because I made a mistake. I misexecuted. Like, that's it. I'm happy to dance, but he's very good at micro, and sometimes he just plays better than me, and I play worse. I've just got to do better, I think, is their approach. But I do always think, hey, if they've gone double gas, and they're often delaying the command center till 2 minutes 20 and building it on the high ground, to me, it feels like you just get such a massive economic advantage if you do mix in the no scout 19 Nexus 19 core a little bit more. But that's me, you know, that's the build order that I think they should do more. I've seen Hero do it once or twice with amazing success, but he just has it as like a 1 in 10, 1 in 15 build. He doesn't do it very often. We'll see how this goes. Widow Mine Drop going towards the main base. Double Mine Drop, not something you see much these days. See how much mining time he can delay with it. Widow Mine's very cheap unit. He only drops 1 to start, which is kind of cute. He's saving the other one. Oh, gets a Stalker. Blink not quite ready. He'll take that. Yeah, you'll take that any day. Keeps doing the burrow, unburrow, but Blink's now ready, so I think he probably will just let that one fire. No, he goes for the burrow, unburrow again. You only want to let 1 probe in vision, otherwise he's going to just keep changing the lock on target. And look at that, saves both Widow Mines, 3 probes go down, lots of mining time. Stalker also went down. Very well played. Now, I think he lost the Reaper at the same time. Looks like the Reaper ran in the natural to kill another probe. Third base should be going down shortly for MAXPAX. But MAXPAX definitely not securing an economic advantage in this game. And that's because he's gone 4-gate blink. He's going to have 8 Stalkers on the front. 7, I should say. There's a tank there. It's a little exposed. If he blinks up and just runs for it, it's worth. It's worth! CLEM not guarding his tank. And look, the Stalker's even blocking the repair. They block the repair. Oh, juicy moves. Juicy moves. Oh, don't lose the Raven, CLEM. Don't lose the Raven. He's got a tank and some Marines there. He can clean this up at the same time, though. Widow Mines do go back in. Looks like they didn't really kill much. Maybe 1 probe. That Widow Mine is going to die. 1 Stalker goes down. Prism picks up and gets out of there. Stalkers will chase down the medevac, shut it down, get the mining time going. Stalkers went in the natural. 1 Stalker went down, but the bunker unloaded. SCV's fought and was able to defend. Gets himself rid of 1 more SCV, and yep, that is going to be worth it there. Drops just outside of tank range. Good damage from MAXPAX, but remember, still no third base, and he's rallying Stalkers across the map. He did take care of 1 tank, but there's still a siege tank out. It's in a very reserved position right now. It's not really guarding the front of the production, and that Stim is a prime target. If he blinks up, target Stim, this could be a disaster for CLEM. But he doesn't see it. There's no observer on this map, guys. He never got a chance to build one. And loses a Stalker quite early there. Does take care of the bunker. But I think that's exactly what CLEM needed, because now he repositions the tank to the front. And with that wall off, you could still blink in and take out Stim, but you'll take a lot of damage from the siege tank while you're doing it. Ooh, Raven trying to pull back. Stalker's coming forward. Tank trying to land some shots. Stalker's on the prism there, trying to do a dance. See what can happen. Third Nexus in the top right side as well. Prism's going to rotate left. Maybe drop on top of the siege tank as an option. Stim's going to be done real soon, though, so this is so risky. So risky. Yeah, maybe just look for 1 or 2 SCVs behind the mineral line. He's going to unload back there. Stalkers on the natural poke in. They take a big tank shot. Get out of there. Raven auto turret drop does come in. Another auto turret goes down. And a good pickup. You've just wasted all the Raven energy. That in itself is quite valuable. Means those auto turrets aren't going to be dropping in your mineral line. Charges on the way, as well as plus 4 more gateways. And a forge. Does queue back to mining after that. Observer up on the production. Sees that 3rd command center duration as the Prism departs from the main base. Even CLEM will eventually build a Viking if you leave a Prism behind your base. A lot of top players don't want to do that. They want to go straight to medevacs to get their push going across the map. MAXPAX tech very late in this game, as is to be expected. He's got a few sentries. I also love that he used the energy recharge early. He didn't wait for it, which is really good to see him making that adjustment. As I said at the start of the series, from about 6 minutes on when Max starts warping in sentries, filling them up with energy recharge, he's very good at using sentries, and that's been the big boost he got this patch. I just don't think it makes up for the lack of battery overcharge for his particular style. Stalker does go down, picks up a few Marines, baits a big stim as well, which is in of itself incredibly valuable. Does lose one more Stalker. 2 more Stalkers. Okay, MAXPAX, gotta be careful, mate. Don't want to be losing those high-value units. Now, here we have what I call the Slow Zealot run-by, guys. It's not even a run-by. It's basically a walk-by. It's very casual. It does hold it back for now. And, oh, the Widow Mine with a single Marine on it. Guns down the Warp Prism. Juicy play for CLEM, who's even going to pull those units back to safety. 4th Nexus is on the way, but it's going to be only Zealot, Stalker, Sentry for a while for Max. Down 400 resources. He's going to expand to the front. 4th and 5th base out front. 3rd base is up. He's on 3 gas right now, so it's going to be a 3 gas Colossus transition, which he's got plenty of gas in the bank, so fair enough. +1 attack only now starting. Where is that Robo, guys? Looks like he's chronoing Extended Thermalats and Colossus after the rebuilt Prism. 2nd Forge goes down nice and early, but you are down 30 supply right now as MAXPAX. And he's only got 9 Zealots. I just don't see him defending his 4th. He may have to give this 4th base up. Counterattacking is a good choice. Anything to buy time here, but he's being cautious because he doesn't know where the army is. He does not know where the army is. Remember, he lost his Observer. And, oh, Force Field's trying to go down, but, oh my god, he just doesn't have the units here. What's Force Field going to do? Not against that many units. Oh no, he loses the Immortals and Sentries. He did not realize what was happening. Now the Zealot count has come in. But it's a little bit half-baked because he did not see the move out of CLEM. Zealots on the right side eat another Widow Mine shot. Stalkers do blink to dodge that Widow Mine. But what does he have to stave off the advance? The first Colossus is only now about to come out, and he's got so little support after losing those sentries. Having a Colossus with the sentry is so much more valuable. Command Center escapes to the high ground. It will get repaired there. CLEM at the same time shoving the front. Stalkers did recall. They're going to come and try and defend from behind that 3rd base. Raven dropped an auto turret. Colossus is out with Guardian Shield. The Widow Mine counts very nice. Good spready attempt on the Zealots, but there's just so many Widow Mines and those tanks and that hefty Marauder count. It says, hold my beer, hold my Punisher grenade launcher. Is that what it's called? I feel like it's called a Punisher launcher or something. I don't know. You guys can remind me what the lore name of the Marauder's attack is. The Colossus comes in with its thermal lats, but it's the Marauders who drop the thermal heat all over it. They focus it down. They start to step away from these Zealots. They're heavily damaged. The Zealots just can't land any hits, and MAXPAX has to tap out there. Very nice win for CLEM. Widow Mine drop did good damage, and maybe if his stim got sniped, it would have been harder for him. But I think MAXPAX just missed that little window of opportunity when the tank was a bit far back. Didn't see it. Of course, the lack of the Observer hurting him. And CLEM just overwhelms there after getting that surprise attack across the map. The delayed tech, too much of a cost for MAXPAX. All right, guys. MAXPAX needs to fight for his life now as he's down 1-2. He's going to open up with the exact same build for now, just a gate scout, making sure CLEM can't proxy him. CLEM is not going to go double gas. He's going to mix it up with the 1-Rax expand here in game 4. That's going to give a bit more room to breathe for MAXPAX, but one thing I've noticed is on this map, I think with this opening, I don't think we see a Reaper. I think we're going to see a Marine first opening for CLEM, get the quicker factory up, and still have a very fast Marine single mine drop to see what's going. But we'll find out in a moment. Yeah, it is that. I think for him, he feels like, look, if I do a Reaper off this and an expand, it's just way too delayed, that factory, and it's too slow to get a drop going. CLEM doesn't like playing purely defensively, so it makes sense. Now, Command Center is down to the nice crisp timing, 1 minute and 36 seconds. It does, of course, I think he paused it to start the Marine, right? 14 seconds, Marine is only 13, yeah. So he canceled the Marine after the probe ran down the ramp, starts the Command Center to get it started a few seconds faster. The reason is, with this build, there's always dead time waiting for money for the reactor anyway. So even with the delay on that, gets the Marine out, waits a few seconds, drops the factory, drops the reactor, and that's going to time out really nicely. So just a beautiful build order here for CLEM. Great way to play a greedier build. And oh, he sees it! MAXPAX is going to go for a 3-gate aggression, and now he has to change his mind. That just ain't going to work now. I imagine he just goes for a Twilight Council at this stage. He's already got a Zealot and 2 Adepts coming across the map, but the bunker will be ready. Zealot pressure on this map is crazy because it's the longest rush distance in the map pool. The reason I think he does it is he thinks, well, you won't expect it. This is the map where you'll be greedy. But seeing a finished bunker, he's got to go, oh, you're kidding me, man. You're kidding me. Zealot Adept coming forward. Can he get it? Can't quite get the Zealot. Oh, those Marines trying to get to the bunker. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, one of them does get taken down. I'm going to try and assault the ramp a little bit. The Marines unloading here is a crazy choice, but he doesn't want to let the shields regen. Every time he does damage, remember, it resets the shield regenerate timer. You have to be not taking damage for, I think it's like 7 seconds. Before that energy, the shield starts regenning. Good denial on the mining time. Twilight Robo's second gate's coming up. Can he actually get some more Marine kills? With a Hellion out, looks like this should be very holdable. 2 Adepts and a Zealot committing behind the minerals. Wow, MAXPAX. I would say over-committing right now. And the Zealot's always going to go down here. You do not want to lose this Adept. Oh, gosh. Gets one more Marine, but he's going to lose it. He loses the Adept. And once again, not a good start with the Adept pressure. This is one of these things I understand why players do this pressure, because I see like Beyond and stuff lose to the Adept pressure so much, but I think because CLEM plays from the Adept side of it so much, he's just got such an eye on his early game being super tight. He doesn't leave any weakness. He reacts so well. The moment he sees the Zealot, he decides to queue up multiple Hellions. He's even going to do just a little 2 Hellion poke counter drop. It's not a serious drop. But oh, it's going to scout a Dark Templar. Oh, it's a Dark Templar Prism follow-up. This is so bad for MAXPAX. If this just commits in and sees it, it's going to be good. Now, he could, when he sees the pylon, go north, or he could drop south. Twilight Council's going to see him come in range, and he's going to see it. He spots the Dark Shrine. He already has a Raven building, so now he just knows, make sure you keep the Raven at home. Easy hold. Build yourself a missile turret or 2 once you get a chance. And this is so much damage, dude. How's he killed this many? 7? 8? Wow, that's crazy. Even gets a Hellion out of there. You know, warp in Dark Templar, hoping he's not ready, but of course we know. There's a Viking building. Raven's already here. Does not have an engineering bay yet. Doesn't want to delay his 3 barracks setup. Can only defend one area at once here with the Raven. Scan can cover the other area, so he sends the Raven in the main. So these guys can try to chase the Prism, but he'll have to keep an eye on the natural. So if a Dark Templar tries to run in, he has to scan it reactively when the Dark Templar gets to the midpoint with the bunker, so it can't escape. MAXPAX knows this. He's not going to risk it. Viking flies a bit too far past. Prism. Oh gosh. Prism's flying into the Viking zone of control. Warps in more Dark Templar. He's going to try and go Archon drop. But while the Archons are morphing, the Viking's going to find good damage. Looks like he's just going to have to run away with his Prism. Viking does pull back here. Archons get a few hits on it. But the Viking is not biological, does not take bonus damage from them. Forge and Robo Bay come down. MAXPAX on 2 base. Chronoing his probe count back up. But without a 3rd, it's going to be hard to keep pace here with CLEM. Ah, yeah, man. I mean, it does feel like there's... I think if he played greedy sometimes, these aggressive Adept openings would have a higher likelihood of doing damage. I think that's another thing, because I think the Adept pressure is really good, but I think it has a much higher chance of doing damage if you play greedy sometimes, and because he's always doing this core first Adept pressure, even with the Zealot added to it, it's hard to find the mistakes. CLEM will make mistakes, don't get me wrong, MAXPAX still stomps him sometimes, but for me it does feel like there's a very big defender's advantage to be had in the early game of this matchup at the moment with things like Sentry opening, and I'd love to see a bit more scouting denial from MAXPAX as a focus, rather than just being so straight up and focusing on aggression. Unpredictable aggression, much more reliable than predictable aggression. CLEM has a monumental advantage as he starts a 3rd command center. His supply is just so far ahead. Now, can this pylon see this? It should be able to. Of course, has massive vision once the pylon finishes. Plenty of Stalkers around. He's going to try and drop over that side, but Stalkers are nearby. They don't have Blink, though. Oh, right. He's completely skipped on the Blink, having gone for that early Dark Shrine, guys. He's got Charge and Colossus coming out. First Colossus is out, so it's Archon, Charge, Colossus, which is a great army. But he doesn't have the maneuverability to deal with drops. Raven doesn't have Interference Matrix. It's just there for auto turrets and anti-armor missile. It's not a big bio army just yet, but it is a handful of very high-tech units for MAXPAX. Ooh, here we go. Colossus. Oh, gotta be careful with the Colossus, mate. Oh, he takes some big damage, the Colossus. Okay, gotta be careful with that. Does shave off a few Marines. Baits out a stim. But look at this. He's gonna triple drop in the main. Oh, wow. The rest of the army's gonna run home. He just realizes you don't have Blink. CLEM immediately recognized you don't have any Stalkers. You have no air control. Okay, now he scans and sees all the Stalkers run there. but it's such a low-risk move because you can't blink on this and punish it. You can't fly over here with Phoenix and deal with it. Third command center is going to come back behind the third base. The rest of the army is going to rotate north, looking to deny a potential fourth base over there, just like Clem played in the last game. It's all about denying MAXPAX fourth base and efficiently cleaning up his Zealot and Prism counterattacks. Viking in the north, Bio on the third base, not letting MAXPAX set up the Twister, right? The Twister is where you get a Prism in the main, warp in Zealots there, Zealots here, Zealots here. Anytime you're hitting multiple mineral lines at once, you're trying to twist that Terran up in knots, turn his body into a pretzel as he tries to deal with all the different angles you're hitting him from. Raven Marine comes in from this side, gets the Observer. Denies an attempt that a probe was making for a base on that side. And Blink is now coming in with 2 more gateways, but MAXPAX starting +2. He's thinking about breaking these rocks. Clem is like, where is your fourth base, bro? With no second engineering bay, no armory, no Ghost Academy just yet. Clem's still in a very basic army. He's decided it's more about numbers, and just when you take that fourth base, I'm going to rip you apart, dude. We don't mind quickly unburrows and runs away. No Blink to punish that. Dark Templar pulls to the edge. Chat says, I notice people don't repair Ravens. They absolutely do. That guy's back up to almost full hit points. Last few years, I'd say since about 2022, players started to get a bit better at repairing all their units. There are times when you just got more important things to do. You're at the limit of your actions and your attention. At the moment the game slows down a little bit, always worth repairing those units. It only costs 25% of a unit's initial cost to repair it from 1 hit point to full hit points. Stalker's rotating. Feels like he's letting MAXPAX get to late game. Clem's dawdling, guys. I'm not a big fan of this. I get he doesn't want to overcommit and throw the game away. And he's just saying, well, 3-base Terran's better than 3-base Protoss, but I do worry that he's giving too much time because now we've got Blink Dark Templar, Disruptor's building as well. We've got so many units coming in. 4 Colossus! That's a big army. He's going to split 1 to the south. He doesn't have many units in the north. Just 1 Colossus up there. Prism's still trying to get in, but MAXPAX doing this while not really active on the map. And you can see the Ghosts and Vikings clean that up in the main base. Clem not giving an opportunity to get twisted. He really wants to say, you know, as long as my economy's solid and stable, I'm good. Second Robo comes in on the front. Fourth base is established. There's a battery there. So army's not all that big, but look at that. Observer sees a big army on the left. Zealot Stalker warping to help deal with it. Should be fine there with the Guardian Shield. Easy hold. He's trying to take a 5th base at the same time. Got to be careful though. His Colossus derps out. His Zealots run ahead of his army. Disruptor shot. Whoa! Did he just land another Disruptor shot? I see a bunch of dead Ghosts. I think he might have lost a Disruptor though. No, he's got 2 Disruptors in there. They've both fired now. Really nice shots for MAXPAX. But the tank's doing good damage. EMPs have landed. The Stalkers don't really have much left over. If he got rid of the tanks, that might have been worth. The drop rotates into the natural. It gets shut down there. Having it move back and forth in 2 directions. Awkward there for Max. And oh, the anti-armor missile plus those siege tanks shelling. 1 big Zealot warp in and an A move. If MAXPAX can clear this position, he's good. But he's going back and forth in tank range, and that's really hurting him. He wants to keep the Nexus alive, but he has to decide whether to commit or not. And now he's lost his Colossus. He will commit, but he's got to go back to Colossus production and do it soon. This drop's still going high ground, low ground, high ground, low ground. Being so annoying, but the battery limiting the actual damage that goes down, and the Stalkers do take out the medevac that has units in it. Very nice micro there. 7 Zealots warping in, double Disruptor making. Clem is going to be forced to late game. He's making another command center now, a 5th one. He's got 2-2 about halfway done. Ghost Academy's up, ship weapons on the way. But check this out. It feels like if MAXPAX can rebuild the Colossus, maybe think about Storm in the next few minutes. Not yet. He needs a bit more gas before he does that, but at some point, as he maxes out, starts to bank resources. I'd love to see a few more gases go down. 4 probes at a time. MAXPAX going higher on probes than a lot of the Korean players will ever go. As long as he doesn't go past 80 probes, I think it's okay. 75 is probably a good point to stop, and that does seem like where he's stopping for now. But no Colossus rebuilding. He's heavy on the Disruptors. Remember, Disruptors not as amazing against Marauders as they were. Leave them on 5 hit points, assuming the Marauder has Stimpact. Why 80 probes, Pig? Because if you have too many probes, you don't have enough army. Some players like Zaun like to sit on 66 or 68 workers the entire game. They never even like to go past 70 to have that big army. It's always a narrow line. The longer you drag it out, the more those probes have time to work. You don't want to sit too low. You don't want to get wrecked in engagements by not having enough army either. Always a fine line you have to balance. Zealot Stalker Colossus cleans up the Ghost. Those Vikings should go down. Losing the Colossus, not the end of the world. Jumps on the Southern Army as well. Has Clem let this game go to the point in the game where it's not his favorite? You know what's interesting? And we spoke to Clem about this at Pigfest. And I said, you know, he said, well, you know, it's interesting because I was pointing out how what's the difference between playing between MAXPAX and Hero? And Clem said, well, MAXPAX actually isn't good at late game. Hero's unkillable sometimes in late game. When Hero's switched on, you can't beat him in late game. But MAXPAX, he feels like he's favored against MAXPAX in late game. And you can see that here. He's just calmly out-microing him. MAXPAX still very gateway-focused on his army and very defensive. And it feels like Clem out-microing him over on that side. If he can bait these disruptor shots out, oh god. There's not a lot of support for the disruptors though. Once the disruptor shots are gone, the Zealot Archon is breaking into the production. A lot of workers are going to go down soon. The disruptors try to recall. He focuses down a lot of them. 4 disruptors do come out. Dark Templar try to deal with it. Good pull away with the DTs. And if you don't do another scan or EMP, they're going to do some big damage. Another scan does go down. Good clean up there by Clem. Zealots in the natural starting to kill some workers, but not as much as I thought he was going to get. Does come out though with more units, and Clem quickly picks up and leaves. Raven on this side is going to get some Stalker Warpins on it. Easy snipe there. As you could tell, that was a little bit of an F2, wasn't it? I think Clem just losing track of that Raven. Units lost 5,500 in favor of Clem, and that's going to be enough, I think, because he's on 5 base. Clem's MAXPAX, sorry, is back to 4 bases. And that looks like it was just a bit too costly. When the game gets kind of base tradey like that, disruptors become a little bit worse because you need your opponent to actually fight into the disruptors for them to, you know, be effective as units. But if your opponent's running elsewhere where the disruptors aren't, you have to push in, you get your disruptors surrounded, as we saw happen. And now Clem, he's large and in charge, and he doesn't feel the stress to go to lib range, which sometimes players feel against other Protoss players. But yeah, he seems just so confident microing against MAXPAX and playing this sort of very mid-game focused style. And that's always been MAXPAX's forte, is he's a king of the mid-game. But Clem is one of these few players who can play the mid-game, I think, as well as him, while also just adding a little bit more longevity, a bit more expansions, gets the Caduceus reactor for the medevac energy, will go lib range right after that, queues that one up. And that's going to just allow him to keep building to the later stage, whereas MAXPAX needs to get the work done soon. And on this map, Amygdala, it is perfectly designed to be split push. Oh my gosh. Big disruptor shot lands on the army, but a few Marauders do survive, which can heal up over time. Big difference from the old disruptor. Colossus over here gets EMP'd, but he's got plenty of Zealots and a Guardian Shield. Guardian Shield's such a good ability. Oh, nice pullback. That Ghost barely surviving with the medevac healing. And MAXPAX just taps out. He just taps out. I guess he loses this army at the same time. What happened over here? So he throws a disruptor out. That's the big one he landed. Did he even lose this army? I don't think he did. I think he just loses the fight on the left, and he knows he's got no money. He's on 4 base against 5 base. He can't keep up. That army was just idling over here. There was a Liberator denying mining. That's something we missed. Cleans that up, but he's just like, dude, I'm not even mining on my 4th base right now. This army's getting overrun. He knows he's toast, and GG, well played. Clem out-microing MAXPAX, and MAXPAX may need to start, you know, trying to vary his style up again. I feel like we've seen different versions of MAXPAX over the years, but it feels like in this matchup, in this weird mini meta that he has when he's going head-to-head with Clem, it feels like he could learn a little bit from Hero, who has been having a bit more success versus the Frenchman recently. Either way, MAXPAX, always one of those guys who just figures out his own way of playing the game, and he might be floundering a little bit recently, but usually what happens if he loses a few tournaments like this to Clem somewhat dominantly, he comes back and shows us some amazing things. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on MAXPAX in the coming weeks. We can see if he can repeat that and maybe get a clean sweep on Clem one of these weeks coming up. GG, well played.